So, you're thinking about tackling the CCNA, huh? Awesome choice. It's like one of the biggest names in IT certifications, but let's be real, it has a reputation for being super tough. So today, we're going to pull back the curtain and demystify this thing. We'll cover what it is, what you'll actually face on the exam, and, this is the big one, how you can use it to build an amazing networking career, especially looking ahead to 2026. All right, let's dive right in.
Okay, let's just get this out of the way right up front. A reality check. The first-time pass rate for the CCNA, it's only 40%. Yeah, you heard that right. That means more people fail it on their first try than pass it. This is definitely not an exam you can just cram for the night before. But hey, don't let that number scare you. Seriously, all it means is that you need a plan, a smart approach, and that's exactly what we're going to build together today.
So after a number like that, you're probably asking, okay, what even is the CCNA? The best way I've heard it described is this. It's like the driver's license for the internet. Getting your CCNA doesn't mean you're a Formula One race car driver. Not at all. But it does prove you know the rules of the road, you can handle the vehicle, and you can navigate those digital highways without causing a 10-car pileup. It's that fundamental.
Okay, so the official name, if you're curious, is Cisco Certified Network Associate. Basically, it's the certification from Cisco that tells the world, hey, this person gets it. It proves you have the foundational skills to actually manage and work on modern networks. We're talking the real bread and butter stuff, configuring routers and switches, really understanding IP addressing, and knowing the basics of network security. It's the stuff every single person in networking just has to know.
Now, this next point is absolutely crucial, so listen up. Getting your CCNA is amazing for proving you know the theory, the what and the why. It shows you get the concepts and you can do basic setups. But, and this is a big but, it does not replace real-world hands-on experience. It just doesn't. You're not going to walk out of the exam an expert in troubleshooting complex network outages or a master of cloud automation. You have to think of the CCNA as the starting line of your career marathon, not the finish line.
All right, so what exactly are you going to be tested on? Let's take a look inside the official exam blueprint. This is basically the treasure map from Cisco telling you every single topic you need to master for the exam, which is codenamed 200-301, by the way. The whole exam is broken down into these 6 main areas, or domains. And right away, you can see where the heavy lifting is. Look at that big slice for IP connectivity. That's a full 25% of your total score, a quarter of the exam. And right behind it are network fundamentals and network access, both clocking in at 20% each. This chart right here, this is your study guide. It's literally telling you where to spend your time. Focus on those big 3, and you've already covered a huge chunk of the test. So we've talked about these big categories, right? But let's zoom all the way in for a second. Let's get really fundamental. When you click on a video or send an email or even just load a website, have you ever stopped to think about how that data actually travels? How does it get from some server halfway across the world to your screen? What's the magic behind all of it? Well, it all follows this blueprint called the OSI model. Think of it like a 7-layer cake, or maybe a 7-step recipe for sending data. This model is one of the very first things you'll learn, and it's a huge part of the network fundamentals section. It breaks down this super complex process into 7 distinct manageable layers. It starts at the bottom with the physical cables, layer 1, and goes all the way up to the apps you're clicking on, layer 7. And trust me, you have to understand this model. It's non-negotiable. Okay, let's switch gears a bit, because passing the test is awesome, but it's only half the battle, right? The real goal is to get a great job and actually crush it. And sometimes there's a pretty big gap between what's on the exam and what a hiring manager wants to see on your first day. So let's talk about how to bridge that gap. This is where the rubber meets the road. Take a look at this comparison. Some things, like subnetting, you absolutely have to know it cold for the exam. And guess what? You'll use it constantly on the job. Perfect. But then you look at something like OSPF, a routing protocol. The exam covers the basics. But in the real world, you'll be dealing with way more complex setups. And here's the biggest one to watch out for: automation. The CCNA kind of just winks at the idea of automation. But by 2026, an employer is going to expect you to know your way around Python or Ansible. That's a huge gap you need to fill. And really, it all boils down to this one simple truth. The exam tests what you know in your head. Employers test what you can do with your hands. They need to know that you can sit down, log into a router, and actually make things work. All the theory in the world doesn't mean much if you can't put it into practice. So when I say hands-on skills, what am I talking about? I'm talking about this stuff right here. The absolute basics. like configuring a switch for the first time. Can you get into the command line and, without looking it up, give it a name, set up a management IP, lock it down with a password, and save your work? This is it. This is the lab work. This is what turns book smarts into actual, hireable skills. All right, so you've done it. You've hit the books, you've crushed the labs, you passed that tough exam, so what's next? What's the big payoff for all that hard work? Let's pull up the career roadmap and see just how far this certification can take you. Think of your CCNA as the rocket launch pad, and this is your flight path. Looking at the data for the Indian market in 2026, you can see a really clear career ladder. You might start out in a network operations center, a NOC role. But watch what happens as you climb into administration and then engineering. The salaries really start to jump. And then look at the very top of the list, network automation, cloud network engineering. That's where the big money is. And that, my friends, is where the entire industry is sprinting towards. The CCNA gets your foot in the door, but these advanced skills are what get you the corner office. Which brings me to what I think is the most important point of this whole discussion. If you want a killer career in 2026, you have to understand that the CCNA by itself is just one piece of a much bigger puzzle. It's a critical piece for sure, but it's not the whole picture. To really, really stand out from the crowd, you need to have the winning combination. And here it is. This is the skill stack that's going to make you unstoppable in 2026. You start with that solid CCNA foundation. That's your base. Then you build on top of it with cloud fundamentals. You've got to know AWS or Azure because that's where everything is moving. And then the final layer, the real game changer, is automation, getting comfortable with Python or Ansible. This trio, foundation, cloud, and automation, this is what makes you a superstar. This is the combination that unlocks those high-paying, exciting jobs we were just looking at. So at the end of the day, the CCNA is an amazing key. It proves you know your stuff, and it will absolutely open doors and get you interviews. But it's only a key. It's still up to you to build the hands-on real-world skills you need to not just peek through that door, but to confidently walk right through it and start building an incredible career. So the only question left is, are you ready to walk through it?